Ready?
All right, welcome to Tip of the Tongue Talks. We got Jermaine, Yeah, and Brittany Nicole here today. We're talking about Queen of the Damned. So first off, let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started, what was y'all's overall reaction to this movie when it first came out to watching it now? Jermaine.
I was hoping Elliot was gonna go first. I'm gonna be honest. When I first saw this movie, I actually went to the movies to see this movie. I fell asleep in the theater, and so I was like, "What did I miss? I don't know what I was missing." But there's this thing that I do. It's like if I fall asleep during a movie, it must not be good. And the next time that I saw it was when I was I was getting ready for this, and I fell asleep twice while watching it. It was just not. It was not hitting on nothing. So
Yeah.
Okay, so the first time I watched this movie, I don't even remember it. Um, I don't, I don't know that I clinically fell asleep. Quite possibly asleep with my eyes open. Second time I started making lasagna, folding clothes. I have restarted it several times, and don't get me wrong, there were some decent parts to the movie. Of course, it's beautiful to gaze at Aaliyah, but it was kind of I need my Lestat to Lestat. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And so for me, before I go down the rabbit hole and keep talking, suffice it to say, it didn't satiate me the way I needed it to when it comes to Lestat. Because for me, it's Lestat above all.
Exactly.
And then it really threw me off with them saying that Marius was his maker. That threw me off in a major way. So
hmm
yeah. So yeah. It was a no for me, as they say.
So it was a no for you both times. Both of y'all was a no both times. Hey,
Hey,
book
Miss
and we
welcome.
started. We 2 minutes and 50 seconds in. We just started. So the question that I asked was, before we get started, what was your overall reaction to this movie when it first came out to watching it now? So books, birds, and purrs. What was your reaction when you first watched it to watching it now later in your life? And
I,
then Queen of the Damned. Yeah, ooh, was it so painful now, or was it so painful before?
or double the pain.
Double the pain. Now, for
We have
me,
one person that said they fell asleep twice, and one person that said they fell asleep with their eyes open. Oh, three times.
fell asleep 3 times.
for
Have you ever
me,
fallen asleep during sex?
yeah.
Not recently. Not recently, but it just happened. Suffice it to say, they were not amused.
Y'all, we bad. We bad.
They don't speak to me no more.
Okay.
What when I saw it the first time, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I really liked it. I don't remember how old I was when it came out, but it had to be elementary school.
You're an Aaliyah fan?
Yeah, I loved Aaliyah.
You were
And that's
biased.
I liked it so much because of Aaliyah. And the music. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I love the music. I love the soundtrack. And I liked Aaliyah. That was it. And I kept trying to figure out where they said that her brother was in it at some point, and I was like, I kept every time I watch it, even to this day, I was like, what scene was her brother in?
Maybe a dark skinned guy.
That
Because
might
her
be
Because I know her brother is like about my color or whatever.
That might be it. The very ending part might be what he was in. But that's it. The second time I watched it recently, I fell asleep twice. I couldn't. It was so hard to get through it. I was like, I don't know if I could watch this. It felt like I was watching a Lifetime movie, low key. It didn't, or a Tubi movie. It didn't feel like I was watching something made for the theaters.
Books, scars, and purrs. You wasn't purring.
Scowling, growling, no purring.
Scratching, baby. Scratching.
All right, y'all. So, Elia and Jermaine, did y'all both read the book?
I did.
I did not read the book. I just did research on the book, just trying to just see where they went wrong with this film.
Okay. So y'all can both answer this question. Elia, how accurate is the movie to the book?
From the parts that I did research, wildly inaccurate. Which
Okay.
I think true fans of the book were really upset, from what I understand, with how much they deviated from the book. Down to, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, they changed Lestat's entire maker. That is not something you can do. Even if you wanted to incorporate Marius into it, okay, cool. But his whole creation, you just completely just deviated from. So I didn't understand the decision to do that. His maker, like, why would you change his maker?
Did they change the way he was made too?
Yes. Because it's like he got all of these training wheels and everything from Marius in the movie. And I'm like, wait a minute, I think Lestat's whole creation is effed up. And he was kind of left for dead and was in a room full of, like, even down to the hair color. Like, Lestat's hair color is even different. And so, yeah, it deviated quite a bit.
Jermaine?
So I created a list, and once I got to about 20, I stopped. So the Great Family was extremely important in the books. Maharit, that particular character, how she died. She didn't die in the book. Akasha's death, that's not how it happened. But I understand, they're going for some creativity. Louis was in the movie, but I bet you didn't know who Louis was.
Nope.
You see this person right here?
No, we can't see him.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second.
Oh, yeah, the blonde guy.
Him right here.
That's Louis?
That's Louis. That's Louis.
Cut it out.
Now, true, in the book, Louis didn't have a huge part. He did not have a huge part. But to say that they chose him to be Louis, oh no. So they had the introduction of important characters. So in this particular book, there were some important characters. There was no introduction to them whatsoever, right? It was just boom, they're here. Who are you? What's your importance? What's your significance? And which one is which? Right? It was hard to figure out. Also, Elia said it. Marius is Lestat's maker. The merging of Magnus and Marius. Also, the absence of Armand, because Armand was in the book and had a significant role. The absence of Gabrielle. Who is Lestat's mother. Vampire powers. The powers of vampires completely different. Also, the teeth of vampires. You don't see the teeth of. I mean, if you notice, every single time that you saw a vampire, you saw their fangs, right?
Right.
You're not supposed to see that. Also, Akasha's reasoning was never fully explained in the movie. That was important. Also, Lestat turned Jesse. That did not happen. And they walked away as if the two of them were lovers. And we all know that that's not true. Sex between Lestat and Akasha never happened. Marius turning David, I mean, we're left to assume that he turned David. That didn't happen. It was Lestat turned David. Goth, even though Brittany, I'm assuming because you love the movie, you also loved Goth. Maybe I'm assuming wrong, but
Topic, baby.
what'd you say?
I was a hot topic, baby, back in the day.
Goth taking up so much of the movie. It was, I mean, yes, that was the type of band that Lestat was in, but I don't know. Goth was like late 80s, maybe early 90s, but by 2002 when the movie came out, I don't know. Lestat's image, yeah, mentioned it, the blonde hair was missing. Also, Lestat was supposed to be 6 feet tall and broad. And when I say broad, I don't mean like boom. I don't mean that. More like the Lestat from the TV show.
Like a basketball player.
Well, yeah, except for the fact that he's just 6 feet tall.
More athletic than the frail Lestat that we got. Like, I did not want to sleep with this Lestat one time.
This is like all he did was heroin and coke every day.
Yeah.
Daniel was missing because Daniel is in the book. Daniel's in the book. The story of Queen of the Damned. Yep. Also, the story of how vampires were created. Again, an important part to this book, to this movie. And the first brood. I'm sorry. I know that took a long time, but I was quite perturbed.
Nicole says, wait, there's no way that's Louis.
Nicole, that's Louis, baby. That is Louis. Pale and all.
You look like Dakota Fanning.
Parcells and Louis.
Not the great value, Louis.
Nicole says, I actually think the music and marriage of goth and vampire culture was a great choice. How do y'all feel about that?
I don't disagree, especially since Lestat was in his rock and roll era. I don't think that was a bad choice. The music didn't bother me. That was fine. It was literally everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So when she wrote the book, that was what was popular, right? If you're white, that was what was popular. I understood that. I just don't like it. That's all.
You don't like it?
No, I never did. Never did.
Oh,
okay. Do you like country music?
Country music?
No, you don't want to be in your feelings.
You don't like country either?
Well, okay, so I'm saying but like country pop, I do.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of country pop in
like
my phone.
Plain or the Dixie Chicks.
I ain't gonna say the Dixie Chicks, but
You can't see it down the highway.
What you call something Antebellum? I forget the name of that. Them it's and also this black dude. I can't think of his name. I really love his music. And a few others. I'm sorry. I'm dominating. Let me sit back.
You're fine. You're answering the questions. Okay, yeah, I got a question for you. So what comes to mind when you hear the title Queen of the Damned?
Oh, damn, Queen. Good question. All right. So when I think Queen of the Damned, it brings me back to the title. What can a damned really say to the damned, right? And so, I got to go back to that's the title in a chapter in the book. But anyway, so Queen of the Damned basically would be the person that is over all of the damned. The mother of all vampires is how I process it. Okay,
Jermaine, you want to add to it?
No, that's it.
Okay, just wanted to check. All right, so
nothing else.
Nothing else. That's final. All right, y'all. So in the movie, Lestat wakes up, and next Lestat says, "Immortality seems like a good idea until you spend it alone." Is this typical Lestat, and why?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, that is typical Lestat.
Okay, and why?
Because he explicitly, so that quote actually came from, I don't know if it was this particular book, but it's from one book, and he specifically made that statement. So that's why I said yes.
Yes, it's typical of that. Oh yeah, you want to add to it?
Definitely 100% Lestat, always in search of a companion. So it's quite appropriate. I love the fact that they use that quote, especially because, what human wouldn't want to live forever? And so it gets you really kind of thinking from a person who isn't immortal, for them to say, hey, being alive forever sounds cool until it's not. Or if you're by yourself, everybody else around you is dying. So I love kind of the life lesson that's tied into that quote.
Oh yeah, that's a great segue into the next question I had. So what wakes Lestat up, and can you set the scene up for me?
Lestat is awoken by this music that Jermaine loves so much. He is, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, in New Orleans.
Uh
And,
huh. That's right.
uh, and he hears this music because he decided to just basically tuck himself away, bored with life or whatever, and he needed a reason to be. And so he hears this amazing music, and he comes out of the tomb like Lazarus, like, okay, I'm up, let's go, and let me go see what this is about. And so he finds his, I guess you could say, coven, and he goes from there, and he decides, I'm gonna be famous, I'm gonna be a rock star Lestat. I'm not just playing the piano no more. I'm about to be a front runner. I'm gonna piss everybody in the Talamasca, the Covens in London. I'm gonna piss everybody off, and I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna live in plain sight. Here I am. I'm a vampire.
Now is that typical Lestat, Jermaine?
Yes, again, that is typical of that. He doesn't want to hide from anything and anyone. He wants to live his truth, no matter what. I do want to say that that was another thing that was not like the book. And what I mean by that was when he came out, for lack of a better word, to the band. In the book, he didn't. The band didn't believe him. I mean, they liked the fact that he was using the name Lestat because that was different. Because most people would say I'm Count Dracula or something like that or whatever. But he said I'm Lestat. In the movie, they immediately believed him because he showed his powers. He didn't do that in the book. And again, it's a choice, and I'm not downing the choice.
Okay. So Lestat doesn't know if he was feeling better because of the first meal or music. Which one do you think it was and why? So this is the part in the movie where he first wakes up before he gets to his house and sees the band playing. He feeds on an African American man. So, but he also is hearing the music at the same time. So, from y'all's perspective, which one do you think makes him have a feeling of feeling better and euphoric? Is it the music or was it his first meal after 100 years?
I'm gonna say that it's the music. I mean, obviously, you need the sustenance in order to be your best version of an apex predator. However, I'm going to say it's the music because it gave him the motivation to even get out of the tomb and to go on this whole journey of this crazy Lestat the rock star. So I'm going to go with the music.
And I agree with you with that because it seems like the music is a theme throughout the movie. Jermaine, is that a theme throughout the book too, where music is something that is super vital to Lestat as a character?
As a character,
Or a part
somewhat.
of the character?
Somewhat. So in the movie, it was kind of hard because they also merged his character with the character Nikki. Nikki was the one who played
The violin.
what do you call it? The violin. In the movie, they made it seem like he played the violin, and
Mhm.
he didn't play. He can play as a vampire. He can play, but Nikki was the one that was gifted, right? And so they merged those two characters together. And by the way, it was as if in this particular movie they were running as far away from Lestat being gay or liking men as they possibly could. And if you notice, it was Marius who seemed to want Lestat. And
Yeah.
even when And even when Lestat walked away from David Talbot at the end of the movie, it was Marius who went and made David, as if to say, "I can't have you, Lestat, but perhaps I can have David." I didn't care for that, especially juxtaposed with the fact that he made Jesse. Jesse was never turned. Jesse was never turned.
I'm so glad you brought that up. There were no homoerotic undertones whatsoever, and clearly his lover is Louis. Where did Jesse come from? To where this became like a thing.
He does play the violin for Akasha. You're RMS. You're absolutely correct, but that's not his jam. Like he was playing it to be playing it. He wasn't. It wasn't necessarily his love.
I wasn't surprised that they went the music route throughout the movie because Lestat is just a lover of the arts. So I'm not surprised that that was recurring in the movie.
Hmm. So how does the band react to Lestat and him to them? This is like different parts to this question, okay? So how does the band react to Lestat and him to them? I am the vampire. This is what Lestat says to the band. I am the vampire Lestat betraying, and he's doing this betraying his secrecy. And then Lestat says, "All that I ever dream of, I will make yours. They are my children and my band." So my question again is, how does the band react to Lestat and him to them?
Well, I kind of saw that answer that, so I'm gonna let Elia answer.
So briefly, that's his
Mhm.
family. They welcome him very, very quickly. Um, and that's it. They've just become this family. Like I said earlier, it's basically his own coven that he's created.
That's right. So what happens at the press conference, Jermaine? Do you remember?
So at the press conference, they're asking him questions, and he didn't show up. Well, he was at the press conference by video or whatever, and they were asking him questions, and he was dodging some of them. Um, but like everything that he said, like they were all in rapture. They loved everything that he was saying, and they were buying it. They were eating it all up.
Mm-hmm. And Elia, how do the vampires react to this?
Oh, they real tight. They're upset with Lestat. The nerve of you to expose us. They want to kill him. And they have every intention of killing him.
Exactly. I agree with y'all. So Lestat sees on the girls brought to him by his manager Roger. How does the manager Roger react to this custom? And basically, Lestat is playing with the girls like he's playing with food. And what happens next?
He is playing with food. Look, his handler or whatever you want to call him to the girls, he is creeped out. Like, okay, I'm gonna still deliver him though. On one of the scenes, one of the girls is upset because he chooses Jesse instead of her, and you can hear Roger in the background, like, trust me, it's a good thing. You think you're losing. Nah, you about to walk away with your life. No, it's a good thing he didn't choose you. You won't be chose so bad. No, this is not what you want.
I liked Roger as a character. He was funny.
He was funny. Yes, I agree.
So Jessie is a Talamasca. So Jessie heard a voice calling to her in her dreams of her family. What is happening in her dream with Jessie as a little girl? Jermaine? Oh, and Aunt says you must be with your own.
Okay, so it's so hard for me because I'm trying to separate the book from the movie. In the movie, it was just kind of I don't know, like
It
it
was
was
a
so
good.
hard. It was so hard to like just get down with the movie. Um, what she meant was be with your own. She meant other humans. don't be tempted by vampires. What was not shown in the movie was the fact that Jessie could read minds. She could stop vampires from reading her mind. She had visions. And she was part of a great family. Mahara kind of sort of talked about it towards the end of the movie, but that whole great family is actually very important.
I hate that they. I'm sorry, Brittany.
This is like True Blood. Wait a minute now.
Not Suki. I hate
Oh,
that.
girl, straight up copied Anne Rice. Oh, stop. Okay, go ahead and go. Yeah, go ahead and go. That's fucked up.
I hate that they opted to leave that out because that would have added to the greater good of the movie as opposed to Jesse being bland as fuck. And I'm wondering, like, okay, why is this character in the movie? Like, what are we doing here? There was nothing spectacular that happened. And from my understanding, the Talamasca at least has some people with great ability within it. And to me, the watching a Talamasca was just like watching a board meeting and paint dry at the same time. So I just, yeah, there was so much you could have did.
So much. So y'all kind of touched on it. So let me get through the next couple of
Nice
questions.
section on it. We like to hear.
Now, a little bit. Jessie is reading, and as she's reading, MTV News is talking about his band, Lestat's band, and how Lestat has been asleep for over 100 years. They show his new music video, and she hears a lyric which fascinates her. She brings it to the Talamascus, and Jessie hears these lyrics by Lestat: "Give your life to my charms and the Admiral's arms." Jessie found that it was a pub, and how does the Talamascus react to her saying it's a vampire coven? Hell yeah.
They like, listen, Hilla girl, you are an assistant. Your job is to observe and report. That is it. What are you doing? You gonna get yourself killed. No one asked you to do that. Stand down.
Exactly. Exactly. And the Talamascus said that they had a saying: observe the dark realm, but not be above it. What do you think that saying means?
Their main job is basically just to watch. That's
Why?
it. Watch, report, and learn as much as you possibly can without being part of the story, if you will. And of course, and I do want to say that at least this part of the movie was fairly consistent with the book.
So the Talamascus, their point is to observe and record, correct?
Correct.
Who is reading this information if they don't give it to everyday people?
Just them. Now they do try to help when they can, when they feel like they can, but they don't intervene.
Okay.
They'll let you know, oh, you'll die.
So what does David give Jesse, and what is its importance?
What's
In
the
the
journal?
You go, Elliot.
Was it Lestat's journal?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess he thought that that was gonna pacify her, and she kind of leave things alone. Which, when you think about it, is really stupid. Because no, now it's just gonna make me want more. That's it's like a cliffhanger. You can't give me this, and I know I can probably approach this person. So he gives her Lestat's journal. Just hoping that'll be enough for her, and she'll stop going down the trail that she's on. But that doesn't work.
So the winner of 1780, Jermaine, do you want to add to it?
Nope.
Okay. The winner of 1788, Lestat was made by Marius, and y'all already told us that's not correct. And so Marius is the oldest living vampire known so far to be born around 400 BC. So how and why was Lestat made? And was he actually made by Marius?
Are you talking about
In
according
the
to the book?
according to the
Okay, so you remember at the beginning when I mentioned the term first brood,
brood.
first
What
group,
does that mean?
the first group of vampires to be made by
Oh,
Akasha. They didn't talk about it at all in this movie, and that is so important. That is so important. Like some of the people that she ended up killing in the movie were part of the first brood. Marius was not part of the first brood.
oh,
No.
so they're older than Mahar is older than Marius.
Yes. And believe it or not, Maharat actually had a twin sister. Both of them, the two of them died. And it wasn't Akasha who made them. It was the second person that Akasha made. And he wasn't even mentioned in this movie.
You're gonna send an email.
Nobody mentioned Claudia in the movie.
By this point, Claudia had already died. Oops. Correct. You're
Right.
correct.
Magnus turned Lestat.
You're also correct, Awakened Soul.
All right. And no Armand, as Jermaine mentioned.
Come on.
Nowhere in here.
Is that supposed to be human? Haman? I'm not quite certain. I don't know what that means. And then
The movie dropped the ball so many times. Yes.
I don't think they picked the ball up.
I'm telling you, it was a Lifetime Tubi movie.
Like, oh, we're gonna get Aaliyah, and that's just gonna hold the whole movie. No,
by the
no.
way,
It was Aaliyah and the soundtrack.
by the way, all of this
All
right
about
here,
yada yada yada.
that got me. That got me.
So wait, y'all. Okay, how was Lestat made in the book
By Magnus.
by Magnus? Was he made in a castle with the other blonde-headed?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So RMS 2110 is saying that Haman was made by Akasha, and yes, you're correct. It was Haman. That was the one. I couldn't think of his name. His name is Haman.
Okay. Now, how was Lestat was made by who again?
Magnus.
Magnus. Now, how did Magnus make Lestat, and why did he choose Lestat?
Did
Do
he
you
have a
know?
fascination with the bloods? He had a fetish.
Had a blonde hair fetish. Okay.
He was a serial killer. He was a serial killer. He was looking for them blondes, baby. Not bleach blonde, but he's looking for them blondes. Them blonde men with
The broad show.
okay. Okay. But yes, he made Magnus made him. He was scoping Lestat out. He went to the plays where he saw Lestat, and in the middle of the night he took Lestat while Lestat was in the bed with Nikki. Took him, made him, told him a few little things. Well, there were a couple other things that happened, right? Because he was it chained or in a cage? One of them. He was either chained or in a cage until he got him. I guess he figured out, okay, Lestat, you're the one. So he made him, and once he made him, he made Lestat follow him, so that they went into some room where the coffin was, all kinds of stuff. And he told them a few little things that he needed to know in order to survive. And then once that was done, he told Lestat, I'm about to kill myself. Just make certain that you scatter the ashes so that they can never come back together, because even though you're burned, you can still come back. We have a lot of comments, y'all.
Go through the comments, and then I'll hit the questions.
Brittany, you had your mouth open when he was giving the Magnus story like it was BDSM. Like, ooh, and what next?
That's what I said. And then what? And then what? So Books, Gers, and Purse says it would have been nice if Lestat's daughter was mentioned. Like, couldn't he wear a locket with a picture in it? Who was that? Claudia?
His human daughter that died along with the wife.
Oh.
No, you're thinking about the movie.
The
Wait a minute. Did he have a son or a daughter? I don't remember. But he has a human child.
That would have been nice for them to mention that because that goes along with his connection to the human world.
Mm-hmm.
Body yaddy 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 yaddy. All right, Magnus abducted Lestat. He stalked him during the wolf killing spree. Magnus held him in that lair with other blondes, like he said.
And so, which was crazy. So to get Marius and he's giving him this walkthrough and they on the beach in the movie, I'm like, okay.
That's crazy. You go to the next one for me, please, Jermaine. Awakened Soul Vibe says, I think he went through Lestat's window.
Not like Peter Pan.
Oh, she said she meant Claudia.
Oh, his vampire daughter.
That's all of them?
Yeah, so far.
Okay. So Marius taught Lestat about history, how to feed, and about himself. What lesson did he teach him about humans? And this is what Marius says. Life of deception is what happened to the gypsy girl when he played the music. We must remain in the shadows.
So this is, and Jermaine is making a face. So this is just movie Marius, not book Marius. That because it's all hogwash because we know it didn't really happen. but
so what did he teach him about humans and his way of acting?
So basically, you need to just let go of your attachment to the human world because you need to be in the shadows. You can't be out front. Don't form any attachments because it's basically going to be a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And so just don't even waste your time. And so with the gypsy woman playing on the beach, he gets captivated by her playing the music and defies Marius. And of course, it went left really quickly.
Went left and he had to kill him. You want to add anything, Jermaine?
Nope.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about Lestat and Akasha. So how does Akasha call to Lestat? So Lestat, setting the scene up for y'all. Lestat is playing his music in the castle. Marius is on the beach chilling, doing his thing. And all of a sudden, Akasha calls to him. How does Akasha call to Lestat? Y'all remember?
He was playing the music. Something happens and he finds the I guess you want to say trap door for lack of better words, but I can't remember exactly. Huh?
He says his name in like a whisper. And then he hears something pound on the wall. And so he moves the desk and he sees that there is like dust and there's not dust or something like that around the desk.
Oh yeah, that is what happened.
Flies. Yes, there you go. Thank you, RMS. RMS really watched y'all.
RMS didn't fall asleep like the rest of us. So kudos to you.
Kudos. So Lestat starts to play music for the statue, and the statue moves. What is Lestat's next move, and how does Marius react?
He starts playing for her, and then she some kind of way, I don't know if she extends her arm. Yeah. And so he takes a bite, he gets her blood. Now he has more powers than before. Not to the height, not to the full height, but he has more powers. But yeah.
You want to add anything, Elia?
Nothing. I mean, it was like he was on Molly. Once he get the taste of that blood, but other than that, no.
Awakened Soul Vibe says one thing about them ancients is they love a violin. Yeah, they do.
Who wouldn't?
So the part of the reason why they do is because the ancients, if you will, there was no such instrument for them, and so like that was a new sound. They knew it was music, but it was a new sound. And if you recall, like just history, the violin was considered the devil's music, right? And
Mhm.
so they're they're vampires. So
Well, they
ooh, a
turning in their
violin.
weapons now. If the violin was devil's music, wait till you get a load of the day.
So, who was Akasha? Oh yeah, who was Akasha?
Akasha was the queen of the dam, the queen mother.
So was she the first of all the vampires?
The very first.
How was she turned from human to vampire?
Okay, so this is the part. This is why I'm so mad with this movie, right? So Maharat and her sister, something. Both of them start with M's, and so I get them confused. I just do. I get them confused. So they were twins. Maharat actually was not the strongest because she was born second. So her sister was stronger than her, right? Um, so what happened was when Akasha came to Egypt, she didn't believe in the spirits that they prayed to, and so what she wanted to do was she wanted to make certain that everyone in their realm adhered to the religious doctrine that she had, and her husband Ankle. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. He basically let her do whatever it was that she wanted to do, right? Even though she was the queen, he was the king. He let her do whatever it was she wanted to do. So they didn't want to come. Eventually, they dispatched some troops. They got them. They knew that they were gonna die, and so they went like it was kind of like a court type situation. Eventually. Uh, what happened? Um, I'm trying to remember exactly. I don't. I'm forgetting the details, but basically, Maharat's eyes were plucked out, and her sister's tongue was cut. Right. Yep. Part of the reason why was because those two twins they believed in like if anybody dies, you cannibalize them,
Oh,
and the way that Anne Wright wrote this, it was like everybody has spirits or a spirit within them, and as you're eating this thing, more and more spirits are being part of you, and so those two twins were able to communicate with spirits. Right now, there was one particular spirit that traveled with them into Egypt. That particular spirit had tasted blood. He tasted that particular spirit had tasted blood, and so when the king went into Haman's house, because Haman was scared, the spirits were doing all kinds of stuff to the house. The king said, "I'm going to show you." Da da da. He went in. Akasha loved her husband so much she went in as well. Some kind of way she got stabbed. And by getting stabbed, that spirit entered her body,
mm.
and that's how she became a vampire. Um, I forget what happened to her husband, but she ends up turning her husband, and that's how they became vampires. Hopefully, I
That's
answered your
so
question.
cool.
Another huge deviation. So how they killed Akasha in the end, there was no cannibalism.
Awakened
Makari, thank you. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
is her and Inkle. Oh, okay, get it. I get it. I get what you're saying.
Hmm. And then RMS is helping me out. Makari, thank you.
The insane mute one sounds like Inkle. Okay, ankle. RMS says Akasha asked them to bring her one of the spirits they communicated with. RMS said the books too? Dang.
Didn't get that from the movie, I can assure you.
Yo,
Didn't
I
get
love the audience. I love
yes.
the audience. So Jesse goes to the Admiral's arms, which is a vampire coven. What happens next, and why does Lestat save her and say boo? Hell
It's,
yeah.
it seems like every century or so, Lestat finds somebody he want to say these hoes. But anyway, she goes and in a way, I guess, to try to get information out of Lestat. She's really intrigued by him, but she doesn't realize that or either she realizes and doesn't care that she can be killed. So she just walks right in hopes of getting to Lestat, and ultimately, she does get to him. I think he's intrigued by her. He knows that
Becky
she,
with the hair.
huh?
I said Becky with the good hair.
But yeah, he's intrigued by her, so I guess he decides to keep her around and let her keep her life.
Okay. Jermaine, you want to add anything to it?
What's the question again?
Okay, so the question is Jesse goes to Admiral's arms, which is a vampire coven. What happens next, and why does Lestat save her and say boo?
So she basically let it be known that that she knew exactly who he was. She used a reference. No. What was it? I forget exactly what she said. Something like you really want to be human or something like that. Something,
Mhm.
but she used a reference from his material, and he could tell that she was from the Talamasca. So that's why he didn't kill her, because he was intrigued by her. Even in the books, he was intrigued by her.
Mm. I wish they would have talked more about his bisexual side. I really do, because he has so many layers, and it just felt very, very linear and
This
very.
Lestat was very lackluster and bland, and
He was not given. He wasn't sexy. He
he
wasn't
was receiving
exciting.
either in this movie.
Hmm?
He wasn't receiving either in this movie. You said he wasn't giving.
Would you from Louis? I mean, Louis was a little dwarf next to him, and it's not like he's tall. So and he looked like that. He looked like he was on drugs. Look at that.
Hair on.
Not how wrong.
Hair on. All of them. So
Man,
next, Jesse is still in training and not yet a field agent, but is heading to the concert in Death Valley. Also, Marius pops up on Lestat after all this time. Why has he come, and what do they interact? How do they interact after 200 years? So the question is, after all this time, Marius pops up in Death Valley. Why has he come, and how do they interact after 200 years? Oh yeah.
you're like, I don't want no parts of this because it's made up. So he basically pulls up on him like, you know, they're gonna kill you, right? So that's his, at least in the realm of this movie, is his child. So I think he wants to warn him and try to reason with him a bit, but um I thought that reaction would have been a little different. Um, but they seem to just kind of be kicking it and just chilling like he hasn't been gone forever. And so I think he ultimately just kind of wants him to pipe down because it's like they want to kill you. And you being live, you going against all of the rules and you're gonna have to answer for that. So but he still wants to protect them.
Mm-hmm. Jermaine.
All of the above what she said. In addition, so Marius was able to hear Akasha, and there was something else that was going on. Let me make certain. Let me go back. Let me something Makari, Makarit, whatever. Her, the twin, the other twin, the one without the tongue, she had been putting dreams into lots of people's heads. Vampires could dream it, humans could dream it, a lot of people could dream it, and they basically saw the story of how they died and how they became vampires. But they were getting bits and pieces of it, right? Um, so in the movie, however, all he basically said was that Akasha is alive and she's coming or whatever. You're in danger, yada yada yada. Also, vampires are coming to kill you. All of that kind of stuff. So that's why he came. He came because he wanted to protect Lestat. In the books, Marius was a sort of a mentor to Lestat.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So Marius warns Lestat that his music has woken Akasha. What has Akasha done to Inkle?
Oh, she basically fed on him or consumed his power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Akasha goes to the Admiral's den. How do the other vampires react, and what does she do next to them?
She's basically saying, well, they're saying they're gonna kill Lestat, and she's like, "Oh, really? I don't think so." But she comes in. I ain't gonna lie, Leah. She was looking great. She was swaying and such, and just looking beautiful. You just don't know. All y'all about to die. Every last one of y'all. And so she makes quite an entrance, and then we do actually get to see a little bit of cannibalism in that scene. She snatched that man heart out and ate it in front of the vampires that weren't dead yet.
Like a damn apple.
And was
So the day of the concert, Jesse is out. Oh, Awakened Soul Vibe says Lilith in True Blood was trying to be Akasha. Yes, she was. Yes, she was. I'm telling you, Suki Stackhouse books are a straight copy of Anne Rice. Oh my god. So
I
day
didn't
of the huh?
I ain't hate True Blood though. I love me some True Blood.
Me too. That's a really great series. So day of Eric Northland is my ooh. So
Wait,
day of the concert, Jesse is outside walking amongst the crowd and picked to go back to see Lestat by the manager Roger. Jesse gives Lestat back his journal. Why does she want Lestat to share his possible last night with her?
Corey, this is one of the parts that I fell asleep on, but I think it was because in the movie didn't she want to be a vampire, right?
Yes,
Is that what she wanted? Yeah. Mhm.
she wanted to turn. Oh yeah, you want to add anything to it?
she was lusting and stalking that man. He like, why are you following me? She was a pick me. That's what she was in this movie, and hearing that she had many other layers to her based on the book is absolutely disgusting that they took this route with her.
They made, they made her seem like she was this weak little flower child, very nonchalant and needy. And it don't seem like in the book she was like that. So, what was the purpose of Lestat bringing Jesse to watch him feed? And does she want to be a vampire now?
Oh, he flew her, and I do mean flew her to that park. Like, girl, you a human for real. Let me show you how it's done. So I guess he assumes that it's gonna turn her off and she not gonna want it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I'm starting to notice is Anne Rice has like a sort of a theme, and it's like if a human asks to be turned into a vampire, most vampires are like, no, I'm not going to do it. They're much more willing to turn the people who are stubborn enough to not want to be a vampire, i.e., Lestat. Lestat did not want to be a vampire, and somebody asked. I remember somebody in the books asked Lestat. It was some I don't remember which book, and Lestat's response was, I was a young human then. If I had known what I know now, or if I were older, I probably would have said yes or whatever, something like that. But no, most people don't want to be vampires, except for Armand. Armand wanted to be a vampire.
Why?
Because he was in love with Marius.
Mm.
He was in love with Marius, and yeah, and also think about the trauma that Armand went through.
Yeah, that's true.
In Marius, he saw like a different life.
Mm.
I gather that desperation can be a serious turnoff. So you begging for immortality, like, no, I ain't gonna give it to you. I don't want to do it that way. He said I didn't like Jesse.
I didn't like Jesse either. It's okay. I understand. So during the concert, the other vampires look at Lestat from the crowd, ready to attack. Jesse and David and Marius and the ancient vampires are in the crowd as well. As Lestat performs, the ancients look for Jesse. Vampires start attacking Lestat, and Marius comes on stage to help. Then Akasha shows up. What happens next? What does Akasha do to the other vampires, and what does she do with Lestat?
Say
She killed ass. Woof,
it. It's chaos,
woof.
complete and utter mayhem.
Now, okay, so my memory on this point right here is going to be a little off. First off, I didn't like the scene because in the books I felt that Anne Rice set this scene up perfectly, beautiful, and I didn't understand why they changed it. But anyway, in based on my memory, and I'm probably wrong. RMS, correct me if I'm wrong. But Akasha doesn't kill all of them. At most, she might have killed one or two. I don't. Yeah. I didn't care for that.
Then
Okay.
she whisk Lestat away on the island, and they make love, and it gets really weird. It's just like, okay.
What
Well,
else she?
and after all of that, he can walk in daylight.
Okay, so let's pick up from there. Jessie is now at her aunt's house in the Mojave. Is it Mojave or Mojave?
Mojave.
Mojave Desert in Cali, and she knows her dreams were now real. What does her aunt tell her about who she is?
Oh yeah.
So basically, she tells her, "You're human. I mean, I'm a vampire. And this is our family or whatever. So you have ties to this, but you're still human. And so I left you so you could be among other humans."
But why at this point didn't she tell her about all the powers? See, this is what's confusing me. The book sounds amazing. The movie is bullshit. Why at this point did she not reveal all of the powers that she has and why? That would have been the perfect time.
Because it seems like they didn't want Lestat to be gay, so
They made
they gave him Jesse.
So Jessie had to be weak and boring?
Well, until she became a vampire. Like the assumption was that this movie was going to do about as good as Interview with the Vampire, and so they could have made more movies, but it didn't do as well as they thought.
I want them to
Was
start
it the
over.
same director?
What'd you say?
Was it the same director?
Oh hell no!
Okay, I didn't think so. Because I'm like, this is off. This is all the way off. All right, so Lestat. Okay, they made no sense. Last time Akasha was in the sun, almost all the vampires died at the same time.
Oh, and she was sunbathing by the beach and everything else in this movie.
Yeah. So Lestat walks in the sun because he drank Akasha's blood. Akasha tells Lestat they believe in nothing. They know. and nothing. Now they are nothing. What does that mean to her, Jermaine?
It goes back to the book. It's so much that this movie left out, and I don't like. Okay, all right. So what was happening was you had this other vampire. You're laughing. Um, ooh, this is funny. Awaken Soul Vibe says it gave Tubi.
Yes, it gets straight to me. I've been saying this the whole episode.
Literally all night she been saying Tubi or Lifetime movie.
Or Lifetime, Awaken Soul Vibes, Lifetime or Tubi.
So there was this vampire who had like this little cult or whatever. I'm gonna call it a cult for lack of a better words. For lack of a better word. Um, he was getting his members to basically die for him. They were basically feeding him, right? Um, and so what Akasha really wanted to do was she wanted to kill um, she wanted to kill most of the men. She wanted to kill most of the men. In the movie, it seemed like she just killed indiscriminately, but she wanted to kill most of the men. And the reason she wanted to kill most of the men is because she felt that men were the cause of so much destruction on earth and all the evil that men did, and especially the evil that they did towards women. And that was part of the reason why she liked Lestat, because Lestat liked to kill men. She was going to leave enough men, to kind of like, continue to populate the earth. And then, of course, well, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there.
That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. Like you're filling in all the holes. That's
Speaking of holes, there were so many. There were unfilled.
Which is why I like threesomes.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So the ancients meet in preparation to kill Akasha, and then Akasha shows up like the bad bitch that she is, pushing through. What happens next?
Oh God.
I know, y'all. Come on, we almost through. We almost through, y'all. I got like 4 questions left. We almost through.
Um,
Push through.
there's there's this war scene, if you will, and ultimately Lestat feeds on her, tries to drain her, and Mahari, I'm not sure how you say her name, she steps in and basically finishes Akasha off. Um, and then Akasha kind of disintegrates. Although she was supposed to eat her heart and somebody else was supposed to eat the brain, some other stuff was supposed to happen that didn't happen. But yeah, ultimately, Akasha is ash by the end of this scene.
Yes, pause. Would y'all, Awakened Soul said, would y'all consider doing True Blood? There's way too many seasons to cover. I miss it. So I'm going to pose that question to y'all. Do y'all think we should cover season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
You want to tell them, Jermaine, or should I?
Go on ahead and subscribe to this channel, because we did cover a number of episodes of True Blood. And you'll see that we've covered it. But if what you're saying is you want us to pick up,
Yes.
we can do that. We can do that.
Oh yes.
What season y'all left off on?
One.
Damn, that's a lot of seasons to cover.
We're only doing like an episode or two at a time, not many, but more about that later. I'm so glad you brought that up because it was like one of my favorite things to do.
Oh, and check out that episode on Lafayette. Oh, we died laughing.
We might need to revive that one. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so we talked about how Akasha died. How does Lestat save Jesse, and why does he save Jesse? Okay, Lestat turns Jesse into a vampire.
Oh, I remember. I remember.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
like it. I don't like it
Okay, why don't you like it?
because he never turned it in the book. I I feel they wanted to make they wanted to make Lestat straight. You got to think about 2002. America was just not. It wasn't ready for that. Even in Interview with the Vampire, even in Anne Rice's writing of the book, she had to go back and she had to edit the fact that they were lovers, and they made it seem like it was like a friendship, a deep friendship, or some shit like that. But yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, you want to add to it?
Um, it was still pretty bland. He did decide to save her life. Because Akasha in that scene asked him to take her life, like basically prove your loyalty to me. So, um, in doing so, once everything was said and done, he decided to make her a vampire. But I was underwhelmed.
I understand. I got two questions left. They're going to be super quick. First question. Okay. What happened when Lestat and Jesse went back to see David, and how did he react?
So David was surprised, if I'm remembering correctly. They gave him his book back, well, his journal or whatever back, Lestat's journal, which was strange because I don't remember. Well, maybe anyway. Um, they gave him they gave him that back, and he learned that Jesse was made into a vampire. She asked him if he wanted to be made a vampire. He was like, definitely not. In the book, it was Lestat that asked if he wanted to be made a vampire, and there was a reason for that, which was not covered in the movie, because Lestat was intrigued by David. He was intrigued by David because David could read his mind. David was a human, but David could read his mind. Um,
Mm,
he liked Lestat liked David. He liked David, and David liked Lestat.
okay. Oh yeah, you want to add to it?
Now, one more thing. Lestat, I mean, not Lestat. David was actually supposed to be in his 60s, 70s, something like that. Like one book said 60s, another book said 70s, but he was supposed to be older.
Mm, that's interesting. Oh yeah, you want to add to it?
No comment.
Okay. Daniel says Marius is supposed to have long blonde hair. RMS says I'm waiting on someone to do a film of Anne Rice's The Mummy. Maharit turned Jesse also.
I want them to stop touching Anne Rice stuff. If they're not gonna bring the Interview with the Vampire, the TV show level to it or greater, if you're gonna bring that Mayfair energy, leave it alone,
Because it
please.
felt like that. RMS says Tales of the Body Thief, David was wild in the books. All right, last question, and I'm done. On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate this movie? And be honest. And who was your favorite character? Who was your favorite character in the movie out of all of it? Or what was your favorite aspect of the movie? Even if it's just one little bitty thing. And how would you rate the movie? Oh, yeah.
I knew you were gonna do that. So on a scale from 1 to 5, I'm gonna give it a 0.5.
Okay. And what was your favorite aspect of the movie? Just one thing.
Um, I liked Akasha's attire.
It was.
I I genuinely enjoyed the attire. Um, She looked very polished, well put together. Not you when RMS says I'm gonna give it a negative 7.5.
Tomato, tomato, tomato.
See, I was being generous. But yeah, definitely love how Akasha was put together. Um, I'm not gonna say that it was an amazing acting job. I'm not gonna go that far, but for what it was, I definitely enjoyed the costumes and just the overall look.
Okay. Name.
I'm gonna give it a 1 because you said 1 to 5, so I'm gonna give it a 1. Um, and maybe when I first saw it, I might have given it a 2 or 3 because I was very much intrigued by
But you were
vampires, but
asleep on the parts you were awake for.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. I did wake up some kind of way. I woke up when Akasha was on the screen, and so maybe that's what it was. Like I missed a good chunk of the beginning, and I woke up and I saw Akasha or Aaliyah doing all of this, and it it awakened a part of me.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough
It was
Akasha in
it
this
wasn't
movie.
enough. But back then it wasn't.
They could have gave us less Jesse and more Akasha.
They could have. They really could have. For me, I give the movie a 1.5, and it was the soundtrack that was the biggest thing to me that I like, and Akasha.
I really can't think of one aspect of the show, the movie that I really, really liked. If anything, just by default, because even though they messed up her story a little bit, I would have to say Akasha. Um, I just there was nothing about, like, everything was rushed. Everything was rushed. And I get it because you're making this adaptation from a book to a movie. I get that. I get that. But Interview with a Vampire was like 2 hours long, and this was like an hour and a half. It was as if they cut a lot out of this movie on purpose. Um,
Her moving as a marble statue was interesting to see visually than the book.
mhm, mhm, mhm. And that's not how she actually died, by the way.
My favorite scene was the rose bath with her and Lestat in the club scene.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. The red rose petals. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's just
yeah.
that version of Lestat made me not love that scene. It again beautiful to see Aaliyah as Akasha in that scene, but the Lestat just yeah.
It was really gothy, and oh, RMS says they should have included Inkle attacking Lestat.
Read this from Honest Ground.
I finally saw what's that QD
Queen of the Dam.
damn some time ago when it was on Tubi. I was interested in making my dinner. The flying effect was not it, laugh out loud, but Aaliyah was the only highlight for me. Onyx Crown be coming through. Onyx Crown, I didn't know I like new metal, but Lestat doing that kind of music was not it for me.
See, okay, Honest Ground. Okay. McCorn voice.
Corn, no, laugh out loud. Hey,
You're telling your age. You're telling your age, and that's okay.
I like corn. Y'all, this movie was really tragic. As somebody who did not read the book and hearing Jermaine explain what the book entailed makes me really sad that I have not read this book yet. And I saw the movie first because I feel like whether you read the book or you see the movie first, either one, you're going to be disappointed in this movie. I feel like I wasted my time and it's time I can't get back. Awakened Soul Vibe says the movie back then did unnecessary foot flying scenes, laugh out loud. Oh, all of y'all, I didn't pose the question to the audience. All of y'all, if we have time, Can you tell me what you would rate it 1 to 5, and what was your favorite scene? So while we're waiting for that, did anybody else want to add anything to how they feel about it, or about the books, or about what we have upcoming?
So, considering how well the show is written, directed, acted, um, the liberties they take, like in other words, they stray away from the book, but then they come right back to the book. They're very, very deliberate about the things that they do. They don't seem to have people who have read the books upset and mad with them. This movie, however, makes me say, "What the fuck were y'all thinking? What were y'all doing? Why? Why?"
I
So
don't
yeah, those are my
understand.
thoughts.
I agree with you. I don't understand what they were doing. It was very Seattle, Portland grunge. Aaliyah was the only good part.
Well, that's consistent.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a -8 now that I thought about it. Aaliyah was the only good it offered. Yep.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, you want to add on what we got going on next?
You said something to me, Brittany? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Did you want to tell the audience what we have going on next for tip of the tongue talk?
Sorry, I went off in a bubble. So, upcoming, you'll be hearing from us soon. We're going to dive into the book Interview with a Vampire, but more details to come about that soon.
That's exciting. I'm ready to read the book. It just came in the mail for me yesterday.
Also, on my channel, let me make certain that I have the right one up. On my channel, we're gonna start covering Big Brother. Of course, this is the cast from last season, but Big Brother just started last week. We're gonna start covering that. We just ended our run on The Boys, so you can catch us our recaps on that. Also, we are also covering both Love and Marriage Huntsville as well as Real Housewives of Dubai. Also covering The House of the Dragon. So for all of you all who are interested in that, you can catch us covering those. We have a couple more comments.
Yay! I'm here for it.
Right now.
When she died from the plane crash, they hurried and scrambled to get it out. That was such a disservice. Yeah, you right, Awakened Soul Vibes. I'm gonna just stick with the books, laugh out loud, but I did enjoy the 1994 movie.
I saw that you gave it a 4, Daniel.
I just got to finish the last 3 books and the new Tales of the Vampire books.
Daniel. Okay, so y'all, even though we have more details, we got to flesh this out a little bit more. But we do want to cover the books. But what we kind of sort of talked about was opening it up so that all of you all could read the books along with us. Because at least what I'm finding out is that I'm getting the movies mixed in with the books, mixed in with the the TV show, and so some of the facts that I give from time to time are quite wrong. And so we want to we want to open it up so that we can all read it together. And so there's something that we could do so that could happen. So if you're interested, we'll be coming out with that shortly. We have a couple more comments.
The movie or the book? I'm sorry to make you repeat. So we're talking about the book. We're going to do something where it's basically like a virtual book club, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to all be on the webinar together, and we'll be talking and discussing chapter by chapter with all of y'all. And we'll send the link out so that way y'all can have it. And it'll be a private link.
And we
So
plan to do these in order. So the first book up will be Interview with the Vampire.
Yes.
So go to your local library, go to Amazon, Kindle, whatever.
We'll talk about this after. Stay on so I could talk to you about an idea I have. I love that. That's right, RMS.
Goodwill, phone a friend, get the books. Get the books.
We need to start reading more, and we need to start reading more. Okay, we need to educate ourselves and read. Not enough. We're not reading enough. Going on TikTok.
Yourself, I'll read.
Can you take us out?
Thank you all so very much for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Until next time, y'all, have a great one.
Get the